basically done with like the new information for your test. You guys are going to have a test on Friday. So today's a mixed review. So what's today? 9/14. We're doing a mixed review. And then tomorrow is like the review 1. Oh my god, those. You're going to get a review 1 worksheet. And then oh my god, I hate this thing. For 9/6. Oh, yeah. Okay, for 9/16, it's going to be review day 2 worksheet, and then your test is going to be on Friday, okay? I don't know why I was writing Friday, but your test is going to be on Friday, okay? So for the rest of the week, we're basically just reviewing. Your test is still going to be on Edulastic, but it's more like a conceptual type test, like do you understand the concepts? But we will also be asking you if you can factor, okay? So to review, we have binomials. And binomials, the word bi, or the prefix bi tells you there's 2. So we have 2 terms. The ones with the 2 terms, we first check for a GCF. We don't always have a GCF. Sometimes it's just dots. So if you have a GCF, make sure to take it out. And then the next thing you want to do is check for dots. Okay? And then for the trinomials, we spent like 3 days on trinomials. We did Thursday, Friday, and Monday. We were looking at trinomials. So the prefix tri tells you you have 3 terms. So the same steps. First, you want to check for a GCF. Then the second thing you want to do is your area model to create 2 binomials. So remember, that's when you do like blank plus blank equals B, and blank times blank equals A times C. And then at the very end, you want to check for dots. And then for today, the lesson 1-7, which I'm kind of skipping. I'm not really doing a full 1-7 lesson, but I'm going over it today. So the 4 terms is basically the same as a trinomial, except you skip like the blank plus blank, okay? So you still do GCF, you still use the area model to create your 2 binomials. The only difference is for the 4 terms, you don't have to do this step right here. Okay, so for the 4 terms, we're not doing that step because you will have the 4 terms already. You'll just put them in the box, and then at the very end, you check for dots. Okay? Which is why I wanted to record it today, because I'm basically going to go over the 4 terms together along with the mixed practice instead of doing a full day of the 4 terms, okay? So if we look at the worksheet, we're going to do these together. I'll do 4 of them, and then you guys will work on the other 8 for the rest of the period, okay? So if we look, I'm going to start with number 3 just because it's a binomial. Excuse me. Alright, so for number 3, go ahead and copy this one. We got, you don't have to, oh my god, this is on your paper, but we're going to do this one together. So it's a binomial, so remember our steps for binomials. First, check for a GCF. Is there anything that we can divide both of those by? Do they have anything in common? No, right? I have no GCF. So then we got to check for dots. I have a difference. 81 is 81 on those diagonal numbers. Is 81 a perfect square? Yes, 81 is a perfect square, and I got an x to the 4th. That means I can split this into 2 binomials and take the square roots. So square root of x to the 4th is going to give us an x squared. And the square root of 81 is going to give us our 9. And then I have 1 subtraction, 1 addition. But then because I still have the squares, I need to double check to see if I have dots still. So check this first one. Do you have dots? Check this last one. Do you have dots? So can I have, righties, tell your partners, do any of those have dots? Why or why not? Okay, ready? So for the, do I have dots? Yes or no? Tell me in 3, 2, 1. Yes, which one is my dots? Just the first one. Why not the second one? Because of the addition. Remember, D stands for difference, which means subtracting. So no dots for that one, but the first one does. So I'm going to split this into 2 more binomials by taking the square root. So square root of x squared is going to give us an x. And square root of 9 is going to give us a 3. And I need 1 subtraction, 1 addition. And then just bring this one down. You got the x squared plus 9 at the end. Okay? And your answer can vary from like how you write it. As long as you have all 3 binomials, you're fine. Like you can put x squared plus 9 first, then you can do x plus 3, x minus 3. That doesn't matter so long as you have all 3 of them. Okay? And then if you check the answer key at the bottom, I know they're all scrambled up, but you check each 3 of the trinomials off at the bottom. So at the bottom on the answer key, you find the x minus 3, cross it out. Find the x plus 3, cross it out. Find the x squared plus 9, cross it out. Okay? Alright, so that was binomials with no GCF, but we had dots. So now let's look at number 1, which is a trinomial. This is what we did in class on like Thursday and Friday, and then you guys worked on the assignment in class yesterday. So if you remember, first you check for GCF in the trinomials. So lefties, tell your partner, what's a GCF here? What can you divide all 3 of those by? Okay, on a count of 3, tell me the GCF. Ready? Tell me in 3, 2, 1. Oh my God, let's try that again. GCF, everybody tell me in 3, 2, 1. X, thank you. So GCF is x. We're going to divide it out. So remember, you're subtracting the exponents. Quiet, please. So this is going to be x to the 4th minus 6x to the what power? Second power plus 5, and the x's go away. And then you got your 3 terms. You got to do the box. Because I have the 3 terms, I got to do the area model. So my first term is always the first one, that's x to the 4th. And my last term is always the constant, which is 5. And then in the middle boxes, you look for blank plus blank equals what? What does that have to add up to? -6. And then they have to multiply to what? 1 times 5. It should be a positive 5. So for your 2 numbers, because the 5 is positive, you either have 2 positives or 2 negatives. So that's either a 1 and a positive 5 or a -1 and a -5. So which of those would give me a -6 when I add them? The negative ones, right? So I got a -1 plus a -5 gives me -6. -1 times a -5 gives me a positive 5. So I'm going to take these 2 values right here, the -1 and the -5, and check your b value. The b value has an x squared, so I put x squareds in the boxes. So -1 x squared and a -5 x squared. And then once you have your box, remember we look for the first column was the GCF there. X squared. Which means to multiply x squared times what gives me x to the fourth? That's going to be an x squared. For the pink one down here, I want the x squared to match this negative 5x squared. So what can I multiply to make it match? Negative 5. Another way of thinking of it is this, it needs to match. I have the x squared, so I'm missing the negative 5. The negative 5 goes out front. Okay? Now looking at this one, negative 1x squared, I look to the left of the x squared. I want this x squared to match, so I'm just missing the negative 1, goes up top. And negative 1 times negative 5 is positive 5, so we did it correctly. Remember for your GCF goes out front, put the x out front, and then take your two binomials, x squared minus 1, and the one on the side, x squared minus 5. But again, because I have that squared, I need to check for dots one more time. So do I have dots here?
Yes.
And then dots here. Righties, tell your partner, do I have dots for any of those two? Why or why not?
What time does lunch start? What time does lunch start?
Start? 12:04. Alright, so do I have dots? Yes or no? Tell me in 3, 2, 1. Yes, which one has dots? The first one. Not this one because 5's not a perfect square. 1 is a perfect square. So you gotta split it up into the square roots. So that's a x. Square root of 1 is 1. So I got x minus 1, x plus 1. And then bring down that last one, x squared minus 5. And that would be your final answer. So on the answer key, again, you would look for all of those at the bottom. Find an x, cross it out. X minus 1, cross it out. X plus 1, cross it out. And x squared minus 5, you cross it out on the answer key at the bottom. Okay? Alright, so that was a binomial and a trinomial. The last thing which I haven't covered, so make sure you guys are paying attention because I haven't showed you guys how to do this yet. We're going to go over number 2. But if you notice, number 2 is not in the standard form because these two should be flipped, but regardless, it's fine. So check to see, is there a GCF on any of those? Can I divide by anything? I have a 5. 5 is prime, so does 5 go into like 12 or 6? No. And 10 doesn't have an X, so this one has no GCF. And because it's a 4 terms, I already have the 4 things that go in the box. So I don't need to do the A, like the blank plus blank equals B and so forth. You just go straight to the box. Okay? So in the first box, you want to get whatever has the highest power, meaning like the exponents. So which one is my highest exponent? The cubed one, right? So I gotta put the 6x cubed. And then for my last box, I need to put the constant, meaning the one that has no variable. So which one has no variable? The 10. So the 10 goes in this last box right here. And then the other two boxes, it doesn't matter which one you put, but you're going to put this negative 12x and the negative 5x, okay? Shh. Side conversations need to stop, please. So we got the negative 12x squared and the negative 5x. Shh. And then for here, it's basically the same as we were doing for trinomials, except you might end up with, it may look weird because if you notice the b values in the middle, they're not the same. That is totally fine if that happens because it's a fourth term. Versus the ones with the trinomials, those two in the middle need to have the same x or x squared, okay? But if I look at this first column, what is my GCF here? 5 doesn't go into 6, but they have an x in common. So I'm going to take out an x. So x times what will give us a 6x cubed? 6x squared. And then x times what gives you negative 5x? It'd be a negative 5. And then a negative 12x squared and a 6x squared. What can I multiply this one by to make it equal a negative 12x squared? A negative 2, right? A negative 2 times negative 5 gives me positive 10, which means we did it correctly. So then no GCF, so I just go straight to my two binomials. I got this x minus 2 and a 6x squared minus 5. I'm actually going to put this one first just because of the x squared. I mean, it doesn't have to go first, but it bugs me if it's not first. So I'm going to do this one first, 6x squared minus 5, and then the x minus 2. You can write them in reverse, and that's fine also. I don't know, sometimes I have OCD and things bug me if they don't look right. Okay? But again, the order, you can write them in the opposite order. Okay? Alright, let's do one more 4 terms together, and then you guys can work on your own for the rest of the period. Let's look at number 6 together. That's a weird cursor. I don't know where the cursor came from, but okay. Anyways, this one does have a GCF. What can I divide all of those by for my GCF? Good. I can take out an x. So divide by x to all of those to factor it out. You should get 2x cubed minus 4x squared minus 3x plus 6. And then again for the table, the first one is whatever the highest power is. So the highest exponent is a 3, so I'm going to use the 2x cubed here. And then in the last box is the constant, which is 6. And then the other two, you can just put them in any order. So negative 4x squared minus 3x. So what do these two have in common? What can I take out of both of those? Just an x. And x times what will give me a 2x cubed? Well, I'm missing the 2. And I need 3 x's. I have 1, which means I'm missing 2 of them. For the last one, I have the x. I'm missing the negative 3. For this one on the side, I have the x squared. So I need the 2 to be a negative 4. So what can I multiply by? Negative 2. A negative 2 times negative 3 gives us our positive 6. So then just write these together. 2x, oh my bad. I do have a GCF this time, so make sure you put the GCF out front. And then we get the 2x squared minus 3 and an x minus 2. I forgot to ask in the last question if we had dots, but we didn't. This one, even though we had the squared, 3 is not a perfect square, 2 is not a perfect square. So we are finished here because there's no dots. Okay? And then likewise with this one, even though the squared, we had a squared, 5 was not a perfect square, 6 is not a perfect square, 2 2 is not a perfect square, so we don't have dots, and we're finished. Yeah. So that was the last one I was going to do with you guys. We did 4 problems together, so you guys have to do the other 8 problems. You have until the rest of the period to work on it in class. You guys can listen to music as long as you're not like glued to your phone. You gotta be working. I don't want to see your phones in your hands, playing games or whatever, texting, social media. You guys gotta be working, okay? And I do have the answer keys, so I can walk around and help you guys as needed. You guys can call me over if you need me to check anything, okay?